I cried really hard. Seeing it snap, who knows? Over exuberant Emma, woohoo! Hello my friends, welcome back. My name is Emma and on this channel we like to talk about books. So if you're new here, hello, my name's Emma. I'm a redheaded reader, and if you're not new here and you've come back, oh my goodness, I appreciate you so much. Thank you for watching these videos. I should have a whole bunch of videos coming up real soon because I've missed a few days. So we'll have all those edited, put up tonight. Should be like 3 videos, maybe 4. Today, my friends, we're going to be talking about books that made me cry. So, books make me cry, not as much as movies do. I've watched so many movies and shows where I literally just sob like a baby. And when I talk about, like, when I mean cry, I mean like sob. Unconsolable sobs. First one I'm probably going to talk about is the one that didn't make me cry as much. I probably cried. I was really young when I read it, but when I reread it I didn't cry. So I'm including this because I read it as a young Emma. Little Emma. Reading it in Silver Birch. I think I was grade 6. That should be in my booktube newbie tag video, which will be linked down below. So this is Torn from Troy, Odyssey of a Slave. This is probably one of like the only mid-grade books that I own. I don't own that many. It's by Patrick Bowman. It is amazing. I loved this book so much. This is the first in a duology, maybe a trilogy. It's about Alexei, who is a Trojan, and Greeks come in, you know, the Trojan horse. It's at the time of the Trojan horse. It's about the Odyssey, right, which talks about the Trojan horse. So he basically goes on this journey of how everything happens. There's just so much that happens, and it's very, very, very well written. I haven't read the sequel yet. I should probably add it to my book wish list, which is also linked down below. It hit me in the feels like no tomorrow when I was a kid, and it just made me cry, but not that much. If you like Greek mythology and you enjoy mid-grade or middle grade, definitely read this one. This is again Torn from Troy from Patrick Bowman. Next we have, I'm pretty sure I've talked about this before, it is my Christmas song tag. That is Where I Live by Brenda Ruffner. I don't need to talk about what this book is about because I'm also pretty sure that I've talked about this book twice. I believe it's in my fave books of 2020 as well. It's about a girl who is homeless, and when her story comes out about what's happened, when everything starts coming to light and you realize just how hard her life has actually been, it's like she's keeping a secret from you. And you feel so close to her, and you feel so close to this character, and when you find out that she's been keeping this to herself, it just, wow. I really truly did feel a whole lot when I read this book. I cried. It's very, very relevant to today, especially in Canada and in the States, where homelessness is a huge, huge issue that is oftentimes overlooked, especially with youth. It really hit home for me. I cried really hard. I didn't cry as hard as some of the other books on here, but I did cry when I felt like I was betrayed too. Like, she felt like she couldn't trust me enough, you know, like as the reader you feel like you're very connected to this person, to oh, what's her name? Her name's Lyndon. You feel very connected to Lyndon, and you feel like she can confide in you, but she doesn't confide everything in you. She doesn't tell you everything. You get some hints that there's more to her story, but you feel like you can piece it all together, but then when it really comes out, you're just like, I didn't know. Like, holy, like there's so much that you've went through and you've gone through, and I just wish that, you know, you could have been open to me about it. But I guess that's kind of the point of this, and so it's crazy. It's crazy. There's also something that happens with her friends, and it just, when that happened, I sobbed so hard. Because it was like she cares so much about her friends because they're her only family. And then I started thinking about like what would happen if my family was in that situation. I had to put the book down because I was crying so hard. Next we have The Kite Runner by Khaled Hosseini, and I most likely saying that wrong. It might be Hosseini, Khaled Hosseini. If you haven't read this book, to me, this is a classic. This is something that you should 100% read. There's concepts and there's truths in this story that many people try to forget and ignore. And it's something that I believe should definitely be talked about more. I had to read this for a school reading. I didn't have to read it by myself, but I chose to. I'm very glad that I did because I don't think I would have been able to handle a discussion about what was happening in my mind at the time, just because it's such a heavy read. It definitely hit some spots that I didn't know that I had, and I believe it is beautifully executed. The writing is perfect. The story just grasps you at every turn, and there's so much about this story that you don't know. Like, you start reading it and you think you know where it's gonna go, but you have no idea where it's gonna go. The companionship and the love and the honor that you feel while reading this, and the betrayal and everything just feels so strong. There's no synopsis. It doesn't need a synopsis because you just need to read it. So next we have, I read this book I believe when I was in grade 8, and that is 13 Reasons Why by Jay Asher. When I read this book, I didn't realize a lot about it, and then I watched the show, and it definitely, there's a lot of different. If you don't know what this is about and you don't know what the show is about, I will explain it. It follows Hannah. It follows Clay Jensen from his perspective, and about a girl named Hannah who has committed suicide, and she's left tapes behind that she uses to blame people or to acknowledge the part in which they couldn't recognize what they had done. So the first one, so what ends up happening is you listen to the first tape, the tapes are delivered to their door, and then it goes outside and it's delivered to the next person. It's delivered, and once they listen to their side, they only listen to their tape, and then it gets back to them. Like, it goes to the next person and continues and continues and continues. But they have to listen to all of the tapes to know whose side is whose. So everyone knows everything else, the last, except for the person at the beginning. The person at the beginning does not know what everything else is on those tapes. They just listen to the first side, they flip it, listen for the name, and then they pass it. Just, wow. And I'm pretty sure if I reread it now, after some things that have happened in my life, I think that I would probably cry a lot harder. This book is something that should be talked about. The topic of it should be talked about more. Stigma around it, around suicide, is so hard to come off of and to recognize. Definitely an amazing book. I think I gave it like 4.5 stars. I'll have to reread it again, but beautiful. Next we have All in Pieces by Suzanne Young. Do believe I talked about this in a previous video, although I don't remember which one. They're all going to be linked below. This book follows, let's see what her name is. So this is the synopsis here. Anger management issues. And it's in, like, it looks like that. That's how they classified Savannah Sutton after she struck a pencil in her ex-boyfriend's hand because he mocked her little brother, Evan, for being disabled. That's why they sent her to Brooks Academy, an alternative high school that was used as a temporary detention center. The days at Brooks are miserable, but at home, life is far more bleak. Savvy's struggling to take care of her brother since her mom left years ago, and her alcoholic dad can't be bothered at all. Life with Evan is a constant challenge, but he's also the most important in the world to Savvy. Then there's Cameron, a new student at Brooks with issues of his own, a guy from a perfect family that Savvy thought only existed on TV. Cameron seems determined to break through every one of those walls Savvy's built around herself, except if she lets herself trust him, it could make everything she's worked so hard for fall apart in an instant. And with her aunt seeking custody of her brother and her ex-boyfriend seeking revenge, Savvy's fight to hold all the pieces together, but she's not sure how much tighter she can be pulled before she breaks completely. This was amazing, and it definitely, because I have I have younger siblings, and I have to take care of them sometimes. There was some stuff, that like everyone goes through, so it was just kind of easy to relate to and easy to recognize just the people that are there for you. It's good to recognize who's there, and it's hard to put those people on a not to put those people on a pedestal. And I really like that in this book she puts them on a pedestal, but she also lowers it to another level. Like she cherishes him, but she also recognizes the challenge. I really enjoyed how like the character's approach to everything, and it was so beautifully done. And this book made me cry, not as hard as 13 Reasons Why or The Kite Runner, but it definitely did make me cry. Another book that made me cry that I don't have is, her name is Jane McGill, or not. Her name's here, the book will be here. I believe it's something Home. And it's about a brother who takes care of his little sister, and they're in an abusive situation, and he's trying to flee with his sister so that they don't have to go through it anymore. And I read it, I think I was probably in Red Maple. So 7. I was in grade 7. I think that's 12 years old. I'm just gonna hold them all up at the same time. If you don't know this series, I don't know if you should be on book 2. But it is the Hunger Games trilogy. All of these books made me cry. Of course, the scene where Rue died. In this one, the one where Peeta Mellark starts to go cuckoo near the end, and when Finnick dies. So that's that. I'm not going to explain these books to you. I don't feel that it's necessary. Oh, there's something in here. Loved. Cannot say that I didn't love these books enough. Also, like, that's kind of cool that it has that. I would love, oh my goodness, I've seen the new limited edition ones, the white books. They're so pretty. Okay, moving on. Next we have Before I Fall by Lauren Oliver. There's a scene in this book where she says goodbye to her little sister. When I read the book, it didn't hit me as hard as when I watched the movie, but like I still cried when I read the book. Like I cried in class. My teacher was asking me what was wrong, and I was like, but when I watched the movie, I cried for an hour and a half because it really sunk in. When I read the book, I think I was in grade 10 or grade 9 when I read the book, so I didn't have as strong of a connection as I do with my sisters or my brother that I do now. And when I watched the movie, I think like 2 years ago, I don't believe like our relationship like with my siblings was at its peak, but we were definitely getting there. But it was definitely like, this book deals with so much. It's about a girl and her friends, and what's the girl's name? Samantha. Samantha is like the it crowd. She's in the it crowd. They all dress up super fancy for all the days. They coordinate with each other. They're super popular. And she's got like the it boyfriend. I don't think she's on the cheer squad, but I think she's definitely like an academic, like believe she's really smart. Then all of the sudden they go to this party at a friend's house. Like it's no other day, like it's just some regular day, and something happens. She has to live the day over again, and she has to figure out why she's living the day over again. She thinks she's going crazy. And it definitely, in each chapter, each part of the book is named after a stage of grief. It was amazing. Like The layout of the book, the writing, the execution, everything was amazing. I cried really hard when it came to the sister. It was just, wow, like just thinking about it, it gets me a little choked up. Okay, and last but not least, this book is in my top 5 books that I've ever read, and I've read a lot of books, but this book definitely hits the cake for the book that made me cry. Basically, if you don't know what this book is about, please go watch my other videos. I don't really want to say what it's about, but it starts out dramatic. Like, it starts out, oh, I get like really emotional about this book. Like, it definitely, it still leaves me speechless just thinking about it. This book is amazing. It's Skin by Adrienne Maria Vretos. It's amazing. I cannot rave about this book enough. If you love psych and you love family ties and grief and strength and contemporary novels, this is one to read. This is so important to read, in my personal opinion. It deals with so much, and it really opens your eyes to what empathy can really be. Just excuse me. I believe they still have the book on Book Outlet. I don't think I would have picked this book up if I hadn't have gone to the library with my friend when they were having a book sale. I looked through it and I was like, man, I'm not gonna find anything. I found lots of books, but I got this one and I was just kind of like, well, it sounds interesting, but it doesn't quite, like, it doesn't grab me. I think I was 18, maybe 17 when I bought this book. Last year or the beginning of this year. Just, it changed my opinion. It changed my opinion on everything, and I loved it. Love it! So my friends, that is it for today's video. I hope you liked. Make sure you hit the like button if you liked it. Make sure to hit the subscribe button down below. Hit the notification bell if you want to get notified of when I upload. And leave a comment down below. Hey, so editing Emma here. I realized as I was editing that the camera died and didn't film my outro. So here's the outro. If you liked the video, make sure you hit the like button, and if you make sure, I don't know which way it is. I believe the subscribe is here, or it might be like, I don't know with the way the camera works-ish, reverting images. Who knows? Anyways, make sure you check out the Amazon book wish list if you wish to support me in any way, and check out my socials. So I wish you all the best, and I hope you all have a great time. Make sure you leave a comment down below on what book made you cry, and because I would love to know. Or leave a little emoji, leave a little tear emoji if you want. Anyways, I wish you all the best. Have a great night, have a great day, and I will see you all later.